Hey coin collectors, welcome back to COİN. This is 1939 D Jefferson nickel in mean state 68 with full steps, reverse of 1940 variety. The scarcer variety from the second year of Jefferson nickel production. Faint gold and peach tones dominate the patina, with tints of powder blue accenting the rims. The luster is uniform and satiny across each side, complementing the overall untouched surfaces. These varieties are remarkably challenging in grades above MS66 and exponentially more so when the full step detail is considered. The present example is the very finest of these elusive population and sits alone at the top of the PCGS population report. It was sold for $26,400 at Stack's Powers auction. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to smash subscribe and bell buttons below this video. Thanks. Moving on with this 1954 scent in mint state 67 red, with rich color and vibrant mint luster. This intensely lustered superb gem scent offers deep reddish orange coloration over both the obverse and the reverse. A degree of streaky tan color occurs near the top of the reverse, while the other side enjoys pleasing accents of lavender and powder blue. The strength of the design is readily apparent on the legends and wheat lines, as is the absence of any bothersome blemishes. It was sold for $31,200 at heritage auctions. If you have such rare coins you want to sell, watch this video until the end and I'll show you where you can advertise them for sale. This is 1971 D Eisenhower dollar in mint state 67 plus, CAC proven superb gem. This particular coin has a grading of MS67 plus, indicating that it is in mint state 67 condition, which is considered to be very high grade for a circulated coin. The plus symbol after the grade signifies that the coin possesses exceptional eye appeal or quality that goes beyond the typical MS67 grade. The CAC sticker signifies that the coin has undergone additional scrutiny and has been deemed to possess exceptional quality. The presence of CAC sticker generally adds value and enhances the desirability of a coin among collectors. It ended up selling for $13,056.75 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. Here is 1969's double die cent in choice about uncirculated condition. The 1969's double die was discovered shortly after its release, yet today's specimens remain highly elusive. The bolt die doubling in places is nearly as dramatic as on its cousin, the 1955 double die, an error coin that's nonetheless far more available. While the digits of the 1955 double die are more widely separated, the letters near the rim of the 1969's double die are separated by nearly half-letter widths at In God We Trust. The digits of the date and the liberty are also widely doubled, although not in so extreme a fashion as the 1955 double die. A tick at the top of Lincoln's hair and one on the beard are only mentionable contact marks on obverse. Singular contact is also nearly absent on the reverse, save for a small mark on column of the Lincoln Memorial. These are minor complaints, however, compared to the overall high quality and excellent eye appeal this coin shows. It was sold for $22,325 at heritage auctions. This is 1964 Kennedy Elf dollar in PR68 condition, highly elusive accented hair variety. Comes with deep cameo designation. This delightful proof is virtually pristine with untoned silver-white surfaces. The finish is decidedly cameoed with bold contrast between the frosty devices and deeply mirrored fields. Of the 3,950,762 proof set, the Philadelphia Mint struck for the first year 1964 Kennedy Elf dollar. Rick Tamaske estimates that only about 100,000 coins are of the accented hair variety. According to that author, this brief type was terminated after Jacqueline Kennedy inspected the new half dollars, bearing her husband's portrait at the request of Mint personnel. The former First Lady objected to some of the finer hair details and recommended changes, which eventually resulted in the revised Type 2 design. The easiest way to differentiate between the Type 1 and the Type 2 designs is to look at the hair strands directly above the Kennedy's ear. On the accented hair variety, two prominent strands in the area form a V shape that is not seen on the Type 2 examples. This gem was sold for $12,000 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1952 D Jefferson nickel in mid-state 67 with full steps. Whispers of lilac toning enhances the obverse of this technically superior Jefferson nickel. The 1952 Denver issue is extremely difficult to find with a full strike due to incorrect die spacing at the mint. To locate one with flawless aesthetics and lustrous appeal is almost unheard of. It was sold for $15,275 at heritage auctions. Here is 1955 D Roosevelt dime in mid-state 68 with full bands, well-blended toning in copper rose, powder blue, and pale gold colors is seen both sides of this vivid superb gem. The underlying luster is fully frosted and intense, and the surfaces are as pristine as the day the coin emerged from the press. The Denver Mint struck 30,959,000 dimes in 1955. At the time, collecting coins by roll was popular among collectors, and quite a few rolls of this issue were soon removed from circulation. This created an ample supply of mint-state specimens, including some with downright exquisite toning as here. The challenge of locating a striking gem example is further compounded by the fact that the bands on the torch on the reverse are sometimes rather weak and poorly defined. With its combination of delicate toning, bold strike, and overall impressive eye appeal, this specimen is certain to attract spirited bidding when it crosses the auction block. It was sold for $5,280 at Stack's Powers auction. Here is 1995 Lincoln Cent in mid-state 69 red condition. The MS69 grade is high grade on the Sheldon coin grading scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. MS70. MS stands for mid-state, indicating that the coin is uncirculated and has no significant wear or damage. A grade of MS69 signifies that the coin is nearly perfect with only minor imperfections visible under magnification. It may have some very minor surface marks or flaws, but overall it is a superb example of a Lincoln cent from that year. This superb gem fetched the sum of $19,202.62 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. This is 1942 Washington Quarter in PR68 condition. This one also comes with CAC sticker on the slab. An exceptional example of the proof 1942 Washington Quarter, both sides with dustings of light sandy gold iridescence. The surfaces are uniformly mirrored in finish with virtually pristine appearance, impressive condition rarity from the mintage of 21,123 coins. The 1942 is the final proof in the series struck prior to 1950. It was sold for $3,840 at Stack's Powers auction. Moving on with his 1979 $half struck on Susan B. Anthony dollar planchet, graded in mid-state 65 by PCGS. Excellent cartwheel luster encircles golden gray surfaces, boldly struck and nicely centered with the tops of the date digits visible and easily identified. The surfaces are especially choice, a very popular error type using the short-lived mini-dollar planchet. It was sold for $1,725 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1971 Jefferson nickel, with no S mint mark, among the finest examples of this modern rarity. The surfaces are essentially perfect, and black and white contrast between the features and the fields is pronounced. Proof dimes are particularly susceptible to the no S mint error, with several dates known, but no S proof nickels were only struck in 1971. It was sold for $2,760 at heritage auctions. This is 1972 Lincoln cent with double die obverse, graded in mid-state 67 plus, read by PCGS. According to PCGS, the 1972 double die type 1 can be easily identified as it has strong doubling to the southwest on all four digits on the date. The word liberty is also doubled toward the south. The words "In God We Trust" on the obverse are also strongly doubled toward the east. This variety is popular, and it's also strong enough to see very easily with naked eye. It was sold for $9,343.74 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. 1955 double die obverse is one of the most valuable and prominent penny varieties, and high-graded specimens sell for tens of thousands of dollars. But such fine examples are very seldom showcased at auctions. This one is in mint state 64 red. Exceptional preservation and eye appeal for this perennially popular Lincoln scent variety, drenched in a vivid pinkish rose color. Both sides also sport lively mint luster in a satin to softly frosted texture. The strike is sharp to full throughout the design. The surface is knocking on the door of an even higher numeric grade. The vast majority of mint state 1955 double die obverse scents have been certified by PCGS and NGC. This coin shown here is a significant condition rarity due to the full mint color and carefully preserved surfaces that it possesses. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please make sure to hit subscribe and notification buttons below this video. So this superb gem ended up selling for $22,200 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1942 D Jefferson nickel in mint state 66 with full steps. D over horizontal D repunched mint mark variety. The 1942 D is considered nearly, if not equally, as scarce as the 1939 D, with a coveted D over horizontal D mint mark. The 1942 D is an unrivaled serious key and issue. In terms of surface quality and eye appeal, this example excels as well. Bright peach gold toning at the margin surrounds a lustrous, largely untoned portrait of Jefferson. The reverse is equally lustrous with dappled peach gold and pale blue shades. It was sold for $17,050.43 at heritage auctions. Moving on with this 1943 S Washington Quarter with double die obverse, graded in mint state 66 by PCGS. CAC proven superb gem, intense frosty to semi-reflective luster greets the viewer from both sides of this bright and brilliant example. Striking detail is razor sharp throughout, the surface is impressively smooth in preservation, one of the most dramatic double die varieties in Washington Quarter series. As well known to specialists, the 1943's FS101 presents a considerable challenge in grades above MS64. This is finest offered by Stack's Powers in more than a decade, and it represents a fleeting opportunity. It was sold for $6,000 in June 2023 at Stack's Powers auction. Here is 1964 Kennedy half dollar in MS68 condition from special mint set. More rumors than the facts surround the issuance of 1964 SMS coins, but examples are known from the cents through half dollar. Many of the 1964 Kennedy half dollars, Herzebrine Complete Encyclopedia and other sources were struck in 1965 from 1964 dated dies. Rongas and Bill Gale in United States proof sets and mint sets 1936-2002 assert that the production of 1964 dated coins continued at the mint until 1966. It is entirely possible, if not entirely likely, that the 1964 special mint set coins may also have been struck in early 1965, as the mint only began shipment of the 1965 special mint sets on May 20th. This piece exhibits a characteristic sharp strike on both sides usually seen on the 1964 SMS coins, along with heavy die polishing also usual for the issue. The obverse is a normal hair, non-accented hair, while the reverse is type 1 reverse with a straight G in the FS designer's initials, and the breaks in the rays 11-13, counting from the left where they meet stars. This half dollar ended up selling for $10,350 at heritage auctions. Here is 1961 D Franklin half dollar in MS66 condition with full bell lines, light, gently mottled sandy silver iridescence drifts over both sides, but yields to virtually brilliance as the coin dips into light. According to Rick Tomaska's observation that the 1961 D is another very rare Franklin date in MS66 with or without bell lines. It was sold for $1,500 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1939 D Lincoln scent in mint state 68, lovely lime color graces the center, bounded by salmon pink hues. a pinpoint sharp and thoroughly lustrous example. The 1939 D is not rare in mint state, but few wheat reverse cents of any date exceed MS67 red level. It was sold for $11,500 at heritage auctions. This is 1932 S Washington Quarter in mint state 65. Highly desirable gem mint state quality for this eagerly sought key date Washington Quarter issue. Both sides are brilliant and fully lustrous with a smooth frosty appearance. With only 408,000 coins struck, the 1932 S has the lowest mintage among circulation strike Washington Quarters. High-grade survivors such as these are always in demand among advanced collectors. It was sold for $3,120 at Stack's Bowers auction. This is 1967 Kennedy half dollar in mint state 68 from special mint state, from special mint set with deep cameo designation, an enchanting specimen with uncommon degree of field to device contrast for the special mint state Kennedy half dollar. Of the 1965 to 1967 era, untoned silver-white surfaces are fully struck, virtually pristine, and a delight to behold. Virtually all of the 1.8 million SMS half dollars produced in 1967 are universally brilliant with proof-like surfaces, a finish achieved without over-polishing the dies, as had been done for 1965 and 1966 SMS issues. While the 1967 SMS comes closest to the proof status of these three issues, examples rarely display enough field to device contrast to warrant a deep or ultra cameo designation from the leading third-party certification services. An impressive strike rarity as such, the coin shown here is also remarkable condition rarity that ranks among the finest certified examples in the category. It fetched a sum of $3,120 at Stack's Bowers auction. This is 1930 D Lincoln cent in mint state 67 red, boldly struck with frosty orange luster and only a couple tiny pepper specks. This 1930 D Lincoln cent is conditionally rare. Branch mint issues of this period are almost universally scarce in superb gem condition, where registry set collectors most actively seek to acquire examples. It was sold for $11,400 at heritage auctions. This is 1909 SVDB cent in mint state 65 red condition. Softly frosted surfaces are fully struck, smooth, and dressed in vivid medium mint orange color. These are always in demand. The 1909 SVDB, a low mintage issue that has long been recognized as a key date in popular Lincoln cent series. Full red gems such as these enjoy a particularly strong following among discerning numismatists. Sold for $5,880 at Stack's Bowers auction. Here is 1951 S Washington Quarter in mint state 68, the mottled, multicolored toning that adorns both sides of this exquisite ultra gem suggests decades spent in an original mint set holder. The surfaces are fully frosted and so carefully preserved to approach numismatic perfection. It was sold for $1,020 at Stack's Bowers auction. This is 1995 Lincoln cent with double die obverse, graded in mint state 69 red condition. According to Jaime Hernandez from PCGS, the 1995 double die is the last of its kind. Late in 1990s, the Philadelphia and the Denver Mint began issuing a single hop technique. The single hop technique would only strike all dies once, therefore eliminating the possibility of striking major double die coins. The 1995 double die is dramatic enough that it can be seen with the naked eye. This super gem is in mint state 69, meaning it lacks just 1 point from reaching the numismatic perfection. It was sold on June 18, 2023 for $1,307.25 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. This is 1920 D Welking half dollar in MS65 condition. The 1920S is a top-tier condition rarity in Welking Liberty half dollar series. The average certified grade is a lowly 37.5, falling between choice, very fine, and extremely fine 40 condition. This gem far exceeds what is normally seen for the issue. Liberty's head is fully defined and clear stump separation exists on the branch end. Both sides are distinctly satiny and almost wholly brilliant save for the seen wisps of almond gold color. Microscopic ticks are well concealed within the elements of design. It ended up selling for $13,800 at Heritage Auction. The coin shown here is a truly memorable coin in proof Lincoln cent of any date. This is a glorious specimen, as a signed grade suggests, with virtually flawless surfaces dressed in vivid fire orange mint color. Watery fields support satiny design elements, the entire package smooth in hand and virtually pristine. The proof mintage of this issue is 378,200 pieces, not overly generous for the decade, and paltry in comparison to those of latter date issues in the Proof Lincoln series. Even so, David W. Lang states that full red gems are readily available. On the other hand, the author observes, the greater number of new dyes used also resulted in an increased population of cameos, though deep cameo examples are still quite rare. This is a single finest example seen by PCGS in deep cameo category, a strike and condition rarity par excellence that belongs in a top-ranked collection on the set registry. This superb gem was bargained for $50,400 at Stack's Bowers auction. This is 1992 D Lincoln cent in mint state 64 red and brown condition, elusive close AM variety. Lincoln cent specialists are aware that proof dyes during much of the 1990s and 2000s differed in design from business strikes. The distance between the feet of AM in America is a pickup point, as is distance between the FG initials and the memorial. One die pair intended for production in 1993 was inadvertently used for Denver strikes in 1992. And due to the high attrition rate of modern cents, only a few examples have been located. This is a lustrous orange-gold near gem with minimal carbon and the look of a finer grade. It was sold for $20,700 at Heritage Auctions. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to activate subscription and notification buttons below. Thanks. This is 1959 Lincoln cent in PR69 deep cameo condition. This virtually pristine beauty really needs to be seen to be fully appreciated. Bright, vivid surfaces possesses full mint color in deep orange. The devices are sharply struck and possess a soft satin texture that contrasts markedly with deep reflectivity in the fields. Both sides are pristine in appearance, as befits a signed grade, and will please even the most discerning numismatists. At the threshold of numismatic perfection, the coin is exceedingly rare from a condition standpoint, and is seemingly earmarked for inclusion in a top-flight set on the PCGS registry. It ended up selling for $19,200 at Stack's Bowers auction. This is 2015 Shield cent in mint state 68, lustrous superb gem with surfaces almost devoid of contact. The shield design represents Lincoln's preservation of the Union during the American Civil War. Coins graded as MS68 are considered to be of exceptional quality, with sharp details, luster, and minimal contact marks or blemishes. These coins typically exhibit excellent eye appeal and are sought after by collectors who appreciate high-grade specimens. It ended up selling for $9,954 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. Here is 1990 proof Lincoln cent with no S mint mark, graded as PR69 deep cameo by PCGS. The 1990 no S Lincoln cents are in much demand for the segment of the collecting public that endeavors to assemble the next to impossible complete no S modern proof set. Such a set would include some exceedingly rare issues, most notably the 1968 no S proof Roosevelt dimes. This piece is sparkling orange-red with absolutely no mentionable flaws, as expected. It was sold for $11,162.50 at Heritage Auctions. Here is 1936 Lincoln cent in PR66 red condition. Otherwise dusky pinkish-orange surfaces exhibit a blush of varied color at the upper obverse border that alternates between pale golden pink and steely red as the coin rotates under the light. The strike is full, the finish is universally reflective, the first proof cent produced since 1916. The 1936 is a key date issue in the modern proof Lincoln series. It was sold for $2,640 on June 13, 2023 at Stack's Powers auction. Here is 1970s large date sand in mint state 65 red, extremely rare double diverse specimen. Broad doubling on Liberty and the motto should make this extremely rare variety highly desirable, but it remains terribly underrated. The Cherry Picker's Guide explains, to this point fewer examples are known than the previous listing, the 1969s. However, this variety has not received the same publicity as the previous, thus the lower values. Its inclusion in the guidebook should generate significant notice. Each side is lustrous copper orange with minor scattered ticks and a bit of softness, but its most important feature, the strong doubling, is readily apparent. It ended up selling for $987.50 at heritage auctions. Here is 1960 proof Lincoln sand, the large date issue, graded as PR69 Deep Cameo by PCGS. Vivid, virtually pristine surfaces deliver intense medium orange mint color and a boldly cameoed finish, while the large date is a more plentiful variety of the proof 1960 Lincoln sand. Examples such as these that approach numismatic perfection are remarkably conditioned rarities. This is 1994 Lincoln sand in MS68 Plus red condition. An MS68 Plus grade indicates that the 1994 Lincoln sand is in near perfect condition, exhibiting crisp details, full mint luster, and minimal contact marks or blemishes. The plus symbol indicates that the coin possesses exceptional eye appeal and displays characteristics that are slightly superior to the typical MS68 grade. It ended up selling for $3,498.75 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. Here is 1912 Lincoln sand in PR66 Plus brown condition. This vividly toned Lincoln sand exhibits underlying cobalt blue color, the dominant deep antique copper patina. A smooth, fully struck satin to matte-like gem from a mintage of 2,172 proofs, sold for $2,880 in June 2023 at Stack's Powers auction. Here is 1975 Lincoln sand in MS68 red condition. Only the most competitive registry sets will include a 1975 Lincoln sand in this impossibly high grade. The surfaces are flawless as expected and display rich fire orange color. Two specks of carbon are noted, one on each side. It was sold for $9,000 at heritage auctions. Here is 1914 D Lincoln sand in MS63 brown condition. This smartly impressed key date Lincoln sand also offers dominant color in handsome medium autumn brown, pale champagne pink undertones and a touch of glossiness to the texture. Suggest an old light cleaning, but there are no blemishes of note apart from a lone spot tucked in close to the left of verse rim. It was sold for $2,640 at Stack's Powers auction. And this is 1979 D Lincoln sand in MS67 Plus red condition. The preservation is nearly flawless and the frosty surfaces display radiant copper orange luster. Minor dye fatigue and faint parallel polishing lines barely affect the sharpness of the strike. It ended up selling for $3,995 at heritage auctions. This is 1983 Lincoln sand in MS62 red and brown condition. A penny struck on a copper planchet. Elusive transitional mint error, reminiscent of the famous 1943 copper sand. Though the zinc-plated steel sand was introduced in 1982, a small number of copper sand planchets found their way between 1983 dies. Perhaps the planchet locked in a crevice of a milk bin and was freed sometime later. An orange red and apple green example that has good strike and minor obverse abrasions. If you have rare pennies you want to sell, watch this video until the end and I'll show you where you can advertise them for free. This highly sought after error sand ended up selling for $23,500 at heritage auctions. This proof Franklin dollar was sold for huge money just a couple of days before. An exceptionally well produced and preserved example of a key date proof Franklin half dollar issue. Untoned surfaces set off the remarkable deep cameo finish, Silky smooth and virtually pristine, even the finest collection of this popular 20th century series would be greatly enhanced by this lovely upper-end gem. The 1950 is not only the first proof half-dollar of this type, but it is also the most challenging to collect. The mintage of 51,386 proofs is the lowest in the series, and most survivors show considerable evidence of having been poorly made or carelessly handled. 1950 Franklin half-dollar in PR66 deep cameo condition. It ended up selling for $66,000 at Stack's Powers auction. Quick reminder, if you haven't subscribed to our numismatic channel yet, make sure to activate subscribe and notification buttons below this video. Thanks. Here is 1964 D Washington quarter with reverse of 1965, otherwise called Type C reverse, with intense mint luster in a smooth, satiny finish. Otherwise untoned, both sides are ringed in a partial halos of iridescent reddish gold that delivers strong eye appeal. At 704,135,528 coins struck, the 1964 D has the highest mintage in the Washington Quarter series up to that point in time. Upper-end gems are surprisingly scarce, and this is the finest example of the Type C reverse variety known to PCGS. It was bargained for $8,400 at Stack's Powers auction. Moving on with this error, 1989 D Lincoln Cent in MS65 red condition. The remarkable aspect of this intriguing mint error is that copper planchets were last used for coinage in 1982, 7 years before that piece was struck. 7 years before this piece was struck, copper blanks in early 1980 weighed 3.11 grams and had a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. The zinc planchets used from that point through 1989 were composed of nearly pure zinc core with copper plating, for a total composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper that weighed only 2.5 grams. Perhaps the copper planchet remained hidden for years within the crevices of mint machinery or transport equipment, or perhaps the planchet supplier mixed in a copper planchet that had been set aside as a souvenir. Whatever the reason for this anomalous wrong stock error, it is likely irreplaceable. It was sold for $7,500 at heritage auctions. This is 1926S Lincoln Cent in MS64 red condition, where rare CEC approval in a full red mint state example of this well-known condition rarity among 1920s cents. The obverse exhibit warm golden orange color that gives way to more of a pinkish rose hue on the reverse. Both sides are frosty in finish with bold strike and pleasingly smooth appearance. The 1926S is a low mintage affair by standards of Lincoln Cent series with just 4,550,000 pieces produced. It has long been regarded as semi to full key-date issue in all grades, and most collectors have had to settle for a worn example either due to availability or cost. Scarce in all mint state grades in full red as here. The 1926S is a noteworthy condition rarity that's always greeted with excitement when offered through auction. Sold for $15,600 at Stack's Powers auction. Here is 1975 Jefferson nickel in MS67 plus condition with full steps. Pastel multicolor toning encompasses each side of this remarkable registry coin. The strike is bold and preservation is superb. To determine whether 1975 nickel exhibits full steps, numismatists closely examine the steps leading up to Monticello on the reverse. Each step should exhibit distinct and fully separated lines, showing a clear definition between them. If the coin is well struck and properly preserved, it may be classified as having full steps like this one. This superb gem ended up selling for $2,820 at heritage auctions. Moving on with his 1967 Kennedy $1 from special mint set, so-called SMS half. Graded as SP68 by PCGS, powder blue, antique gold, olive grey and champagne pink iridescence are seen on both sides of this expertly preserved superb gem. Universally reflective with a full strike and virtually pristine appearance, Circulating silver coinage in United States ended in 1964 with removal of all silver from the dime and quarter. However, the half dollar remained silver, but only 40% silver clad instead of earlier statutory 90% fineness, a composition used through 1970. During this period, there was a shortage of coins in circulation, erroneously blamed on numismatists hoarding the coins. The mint went into high gear to produce required coins and briefly discontinued proof sets. Instead, they offered what they called special mint sets featuring coins struck from over-polished dies using higher tonnage presses, but without additional preparation required for proofs. This gem was bargained for $2,400 at Stack's Powers auction. Here is 1977 S Lincoln cent in PR70 deep cameo condition. Condition rarity in Lincoln Memorial Series. Medium orange-red surfaces are completely free of carbon, contact, or any other distraction amid the bold luster and superlative eye appeal. Most examples, the vast majority of spot-free, contact-free examples appear in PR69 deep cameo rank. This one was sold for $7,050 at Heritage Auctions. This is 1934 Washington quarter with double diverse, graded in Mint State 66 by PCGS and certified by CAC. A fully frosted, virtually brilliant example with a bold, sharp strikes throughout. The 1934 double diverse ranks as one of the most spectacular mint errors of 20th century, although it is many multiples rarer than 1955 double diverse cent. It often commands lower premiums, placing it within the reach of many Washington quarter specialists. Stephen Stanton estimates a population of just between 251 and 500 examples. Scarcely more than 10% of the examples certified by PCGS, a grade MS65 or higher, and this is one of the finest seen by both PCGS and CAC. It was sold for $7,800 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1976 S silver Eisenhower dollar in Mint State 68 plus, a virtually pristine beauty with subtle golden highlights to otherwise brilliant surfaces. These popular issues from one-year design type created to celebrate the United States bicentennial in 1976. The reverse is by Dennis R. Williams and was selected in an open contest that also selected bicentennial reverse designs of Washington quarter and Kennedy half dollar. The silver-clad 1976 S Eisenhower dollar was made expressly for sale to collectors, and many high-grade examples have survived. It was sold for $4,320 at Stack's Powers auction. Moving on with his 1950 Washington quarter in PR68 deep cameo condition. The lightest silver tinting hardly denies brilliance for this captivating ultra gem proof. Bright silver-white surfaces display outstanding contrast between mirrored fields and softly frosted motifs. The 1950 is the first proof quarter issue produced after World War II, with a relatively limited mintage of 51,386 pieces. It is scarcest issue in the modern Washington series. It was sold in June 2023 for $22,800 at Stack's Powers auction. And this is 1966 Kennedy half dollar from Special Mint set, graded as MS68 deep cameo by PCGS. A truly remarkable example of both the type and issue. Both sides are fully untoned, with bold field to device contrast, virtually pristine as well, and sure to catch the eye of discerning Kennedy half dollar collectors. Although the mint improved the quality of 1966 SMS half dollar issue after receiving complaints about its 1965 SMS predecessor, precious few survivors from mintage of 2,261,583 pieces exhibit enough contrast to support the deep cameo designation from PCGS. It was sold for $7,200 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1999 Lincoln Center verse milled with a Roosevelt dime reverse. Graded in Mint State 66 red by PCGS, this incredible error somehow escaped the scrutiny of Mint employees. It is uncertain how a Lincoln cent obverse die was paired with a Roosevelt dime reverse, but this coin proves that it happened. The obverse is sharply struck on the figure of Lincoln and the date. Also, the opposing dime die, being slightly smaller than the cent planchet, caused minor peripheral weakness on obverse. In other words, nothing was behind the periphery of the cent die to force expanding metal into the recesses. Naturally, the slightly smaller reverse dime die caused the side to be boldly struck. This incredible error coin fetched a sum of $138,000 at heritage auctions. Finding this 1974 S cent is as difficult as finding a needle in a haystack. I'm sure most of you know that selling or buying aluminum cents of 1974 trial issue is illegal in United States. You can ask how come this aluminum cent ended up selling for big money in auction. This is because it's a proof cent struck on a foreign aluminum coin, Nepalese 2 paisa to be correct. It is believed unique and is likely one of only 2 aluminum 1974 cents legal to own. This numismatic pinnacle was bargained for $199,687.50 with buyer's fee on January 22nd, 2023 at Great Collections auction. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to activate subscribe and notification buttons below this video. Thanks. Moving on with this wartime error penny 1943 Lincoln cent struck on unknown planchet. Metal composition of alloy is 91.7% copper, 7.5% zinc, and 0.8% silver, and it weighs 3.08 grams. Was the legal standard for the bronze cents leading up to the change to steel in 1943 was 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc. As the famous 1943 copper cents have long been understood to have been accidentally struck on leftover bronze planchets of 1942, the expected composition of such an error should match the legal standard. As given above, the composition of the present planchet is not, however, an identical match. While its exact nature remains unclear, it is certainly bronze cent struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1943. At the present time, it stands as unique, important, and perhaps destined to be a famous rarity in its own right. This error penny was bargained for $164,500 at Stack's Powers auction. Another wartime error coin, 1944 Lincoln cent struck on a leftover steel planchet, graded in Mint State 64 by PCGS and proven by CAC. Bright and lustrous steel grade example with exceptional eye appeal. The surfaces are mark-free save for a few specks seen under low magnification. The viewer will be hard-pressed to find any other blemishes of note. Like its 1943 bronze cent counterpart, the 1944 steel cent is a highly prized error that has enchanted collectors since its discovered by collector Richard Fenton in 1945. While not as well known as its famous 1943 bronze counterpart, the 1944 steel cents are still rare in ultimate sense. Nearly 30 Philadelphia Mint 1944 steel cents are known. It ended up selling for $158,625 at Stack's Powers auction. Here is remarkable double denomination mill. 1993 D Lincoln cent struck with dime reverse, graded in Mint State 65 read by PCGS. US coins struck with dies of different denominations are extremely rare. This lustrous gem shows the characteristics expected of a cent and a dime mill. The dime side has a broad, tall rim, since metal was forced into the collar of the dime die by the wider diameter cent die opposite. As a result, the cent side has a soft strike near the rim, since metal in vicinity flowed into the dime collar. The strike on the reliefs is normal. The lustrous surfaces are pristine aside from a solitary faint gaze above the date. The color is predominantly orange with shades of fire red, olive green occasionally present. It was sold for $51,750 at heritage auctions. This is 1973 as Eisenhower dollar struck on a 22.5 gram copper nickel clad planchet, graded in Mint State 67 by NGC. To the untrained eye, this coin has the appearance of a properly produced Eisenhower dollar. Indeed, both sides are fully struck with bountiful mint luster in a soft satin finish. Also, exceptionally well preserved, we note a virtually pristine appearance to untoned silver-gray surfaces, while the NGC insert reports the weight as 22.5 grams. Even that does not identify the error for the official weight standard for copper nickel clad Eisenhower dollar. For official weight standard for copper nickel clad Eisenhower dollars is 22.68 grams. The error, and its major one, is in the finish. For while the 1973's Ike dollar was produced using both silver-clad and copper-nickel-clad planchets, and the former were made as both circulation strikes and proofs, the latter were intended as proofs only. This extremely rare error coin fetched the sum of $48,000 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1976's bicentennial quarter in PR67 cameo condition, double denomination on a clad dime. A struck clad dime was overstruck twice by proof 1976's bicentennial quarter dies. The subsequent strikes have effaced the undertype design, but the diameter and reeded clad edge confirms the undertype. Between the two strikes from quarter dies, the coin rotated 100 degrees counterclockwise relative to the obverse side. From the first quarter strike, we see Washington's Q with his hair from the first strike. On the reverse, the drummer's left hand remains from the first strike. The coin has two small border splits at 7:30 and 10 o'clock, and traces of copper interior are apparent along the reverse border. It ended up selling for $9,000 on June 12, 2023 at Heritage Auctions. Here is 1971's Kennedy half dollar in PR65 condition, double struck, both strikes off center. Both strikes are approximately 30% off center toward 12 o'clock. The date and the meat mark are complete and clear. The second strike was several degrees southeast of the first strike, and is most apparent on We Trust and the ED in United. And majority of Liberty is off the flat, as is almost all of half dollar. The obverse between 12 and 2 o'clock displays a narrow band of red color where some of the copper core was squeezed out during the strike and struck into the upper right obverse margin. Sold on June 12, 2023 for $1,920. This is 2000 Sacagawea dollar struck on a Susan B. Anthony dollar blank. Intense cartwheel luster springs boldly throughout the near-perfect gem surfaces of this important off-metal wrong planchet error. The strike is sharp and crisp on both sides, with even the tiniest of details fully represented. Low magnification reveals two light vertical die cracks on Sacagawea's portrait, both beginning on her forehead. The host planchet of the present rarity, a copper and nickel clad Susan B. Anthony dollar blank, composed of outer core of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to an inner layer of a pure copper, is no doubt from Susan B. Anthony coinage of the year of 1999. It was sold for $16,450 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1981 Lincoln cent with obverse die cap struck on a nickel planchet, graded as mean state 62 by PCGS. Die caps occur when struck coin fails to eject from the press, and successive strikes on new planchets warp the original coin around one of the die faces, resulting in a uniface cap with the design of the capped die struck into the depths of the cylinder. Die caps are often seen from the latter Lincoln cent issues, and occasionally appear also from other denominations, but virtually every instance of such an error involves a die cap produced with a planchet of the same denomination as the die, sometimes bonded with other planchets of the same denomination. The present piece, however, is a die cap formed by a nickel planchet on a cent die, making this a double error of sorts, a die cap and a wrong planchet. Sold on June 12, 2023 for $4,320 at Heritage Auctions. This is 1968's Lincoln cent struck on a 1965 Roosevelt dime, graded in PR62 condition by PCGS. This is an obvious overstrike or so-called double denomination error, showing a full outline of the Roosevelt dime portrait on obverse around the Lincoln, rotated 180 degrees. Significant undertype is also visible on the reverse. Each side is brilliant and deeply mirrored, showing only minimal handling marks to limit the numeric grade. sold on June 12, 2023 for $3,840 at heritage auctions. And this is 1944 D Jefferson nickel struck on a standard nickel planchet graded as VF certified by PCGS, medium steel gray with a hint of golden toning, well circulated but no great physical detriment. A truly neat item by any standards. In late 1942, the use of copper nickel planchets for circulating 5-cent pieces was discontinued and replaced by a copper silver manganese amalgam that will remain for the duration of the war. In 1946, copper nickel standard was once again in the play for denomination. No doubt a leftover copper nickel planchet, or more perhaps, of the 1938-1942 era was on hand at Mint and somehow found its way into the hopper of silver wartime nickels. From there it entered circulation, where it must have stayed for years before an eagle-eyed collector spotted it for anomaly that it was and kept it in collection, where it avoided more wear and tear. It was sold for $5,875. Number 15, 1949 Jefferson nickel in MS66 condition with full steps. Satiny luster and light champagne toning characterize each side of these premium gem full steps. 1949 Jefferson nickel. A few small flecks are seen in the upper reverse field, but the coin is otherwise problem-free for the grade. The 1949 is rarely encountered this fine in the full steps category. This gem ended up selling for $3,600. Number 14, 1936 D Washington quarter in MS67 plus condition, CAC proven superb gem, lightly toned in iridescent antique silver. Both sides are intensely frosted with a razor-sharp strike. This would serve as a highlight in the finest Washington quarter cabinet. After only the 1932D and 1932S, and excluding varieties, the 1936D is the rarest quarter of this design type. In gem mint state preservation, it was sold for $3,960. Number 13, here is 1941 Jefferson nickel in PR68 condition, wheat gold toning, enriched is unabraded and well-struck proof Jefferson nickel, essentially flawless save for a small carbon fleck above the west wing of Monticello. From a low-proof emission of 18,720 pieces, this nickel was sold for $3,840 on July 21, 2023. Number 12, here is an error half-dollar 1971 D Kennedy 50-cent piece struck on a 40% silver planchet. Like the famous 1943 copper cent, this coin was struck from a leftover planchet. The regular issue was comprised of only copper nickel clad coinage, as the silver clad coinage 40% silver. Seized in 1970, it was sold for $3,910. Number 11, 1915 S Lincoln cent graded in MS65 red. This one is an old PCGS holder. Most of the red color is intact, but we note an old spot over the left wheat ear head. Sharp for this date and a condition rarity in gem red grades. It was sold for $4,140. Number 10, 1947 S Roosevelt dime in MS68 condition with full bands. Gentle pastel-like shades of powder blue and pink are enhanced by spring green and sunset red at the left obverse border, fully struck with bright frosty luster overall. This attractively toned specimen was sold for $6,168.75. Number 9, 1932 D Washington quarter dollar, graded in MS64 condition by PCGS. The key to the Washington quarter series, wide surfaces have a light, translucent film that does not prevent thick luster from radiating over the complete obverse and reverse. A tiny milling mark on the jawline of Washington and a few light hairline marks on the cheek are only aspect keeping this specimen from higher gem status. A choice and pleasing key date example that was sold for $6,325. Number 8, 1952 S Jefferson nickel in MS67 condition with full steps. Remarkably well-preserved superb gem example of this San Francisco issue, showing virtually flawless fields, with just a few small marks evident on Jefferson's portrait. A tingle of light golden toning accents the satiny mint luster. In full steps, the 1952 S is a major rarity in MS67. This gem ended up selling for $7,800. Number 7, 1927 S Lincoln Cent in MS65 red condition. David Lang, in The Complete Guide to the Lincoln Cent, says that nearly all cents of this issue were poorly made. Worn, eroded dies were the rule, and the early die state examples are exceedingly rare. He further quotes a study in the Coin Dealer newsletter. Finding a 1927 S to fit a top quality set will not be a simple matter. The strike is often horrible and the color is often dreary. The present example is decently struck, so showing minor softness in the hair of over Lincoln's ear, the beard, and few letters of States and America. Lincoln's portrait is pale greenish tan, nicely set off by pinkish-orange fields. The reverse is pinkish-orange throughout. It was sold for $8,050. Number 6, 1942 Lincoln Cent graded in MS64 by NGC. According to Goldberg Auctions, an amazing error, the planchet is obviously made of brass, and the coin has a distinctive appearance quite unlike a normal copper cent. Further, the color is bright and the mint fresh, without heavy spots or other problems, just a few scattered minor specks to note the passage of time. There is a trace of a fingerprint on the upper overs, otherwise the coin is basically as struck. Examination with a glass was only note a few trivial signs of handling, and the surfaces remain very close to gem condition. It is probably that this error was created in a similar fashion to the 1943 copper cents. Perhaps a bin of Ecuador dimes had just been struck at the Philadelphia Mint, then a tub of copper planchets were dumped in a bin for coining Lincoln cents. Apparently 2 planchets remained in the bin from the Ecuador dimes and were struck with Lincoln cent dies. It was sold for $13,800. Number 5, 1924 D Lincoln Cent in MS65 red condition. According to Heritage, 10 years removed from producing less than 1.2 million Lincoln cents in 1914, the Denver Mint again accomplished a meager total of 2.5 million pieces in 1924. The 1924 D serves as a popular semi-key that commands a substantial premium even on lower grades. All mint state coins are scarce regardless of color, while fully red examples represent the cream of the crop. It was sold for $13,800. Number 4, this is 1910 Lincoln Cent in PR67 red condition. The upper obverse features blended shades of rose, violet, green, blue, and gold, while the rest of this exquisite, superb gem is largely copper orange. Finely textured surfaces lack any mentionable contact marks. Eye appeal is absolutely fantastic. The fact that CEC has endorsed the coin is appreciated but not at all surprising. Quality is blatantly high-end for the grade. It was sold for $15,600. Number 3, 1953 S Franklin half dollar graded in MS66 condition with full bell lines by Enix. The rarest and the most difficult to obtain Franklin with full bell lines. The frosty white surfaces are immaculate with just the faintest hint of natural gold toning around the extreme borders. So-called King of Franklin halves. It was sold for $16,100. Number 2, 1937 D Buffalo nickel, so-called 3-legged nickel variety, graded in mid-state 66 by NGC. The error was caused when the meat workers attempt to remove clash marks from the reverse side of the coin. In doing so, they inadvertently removed a significant portion of details from the buffalo's front leg and hoof. As a result, the buffalo appeared to have only 3 legs, with the 4th leg mostly missing. The current offering must be among the most eye-appealing of those coins. Lovely mint luster flows over amber olive surfaces that only show a single minor abrasion just below Indian's hairline. The strike is as close to full as one should expect for this variety, which intrinsically has some striking irregularities. Number 1. 1959 D Lincoln Cent Mule is a rare and valuable error coin that was created when two different coin dies were mistakenly paired during the minting process. In numismatics, a mule refers to a coin that has obverse and reverse designs that were not intended to be paired together. In the case of 1959 D Lincoln Cent Mule, it features a wheat ears reverse design that was used on Lincoln Memorial cents. It features a wheat ears reverse design instead of Lincoln Memorial cent reverse design, which was introduced in 1959. This combination of different designs was not supposed to happen, making the mule coin a rare and highly sought after error. These error coins are considered highly valuable to collectors due to its rarity and unusual combination of designs. The exact number of mule coins produced is not precisely known, which adds to their mystique and desirability among coin enthusiasts. It was sold for $48,300.